I've lived in Marin my whole life, so growing up here, I didn't realize that I looked different or anything, and I didn't get why people would look at me funny.
I am half Chinese, and my mom is Chinese, and my dad is white.
My mom's French and my dad's Japanese.
I am Chinese.
I'm half Chinese.
And I'm half Japanese.
I'm Korean Canadian, actually, but I live in the great country of America.
I don't speak the languages or anything, but I celebrate Chinese New Year's, and I eat Chinese food.
I definitely do. I definitely identify with Japanese or just Asians in general. There's some connection or something. I celebrate Chinese New Year, and we have special dinners.
When people ask me, because people have asked me before, oh, well, how do you feel being Asian American? I just feel I'm really proud. When I grew up in Nepean, Ontario, Canada, which is a very, very, very small city, there was no one who looked like me. And that really informs a lot of your identity, of not being reflected. And I think I've always had a constant search for it. And I think maybe that's a part of also why I became an actor.
They'll be printed on every t-shirt in this land, on the finest of cottons and the hippest of brands, and blow the letters down. The capital R, it's the only thing, it's the only thing, it's the only lonely.
Are you familiar with the gear shift?
You mean the Prindle?
The what?
The Prindle.
Are you referring to the shift lever that says P-R-N-D-L?
That's a child's Mosby. I know how to spell Prindle.
It is not something you spell. It is a gear shift. The letters stand for park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low.
You're making me nervous with all this technical talk. Are you okay?
Sometimes, people ask me if I make sushi at home, which is kind of funny, and I do make sushi, but it's just kind of assuming that I would.
I don't know. I think a lot of people think that, because you're Asian, you're good at math, you know? So it's can you help me with the math homework? And I can't, because I'm good at math, but, you know.
I'm not good at math. I'll be the living proof of that stereotype. Not me personally, but my brother did when he went to Drake. He was threatened by the lacrosse team that if he joined, he'd get his ass kicked every single day. I guess that was pretty racist. When I went to Idaho, I definitely got looked at differently.
One time I went to the DMV to get my permit, and they were like, we need your green card number. My mom's like, we gave that back a while ago. She's been a citizen since she was 2. And they were like, oh, she can't take her test because you don't have the number. And we brought my passport. We brought all the documents saying that I was legal here. Yeah. Wow. There was an Asian guy behind the counter. I'm like, come on, dude. Anyways. So every single number, and finally we found this random number, and I guess that was my green card number. And luckily I passed the test because I didn't have to make my mom go through that again. They were probably arguing or looking for the number for an hour.
I remember where we lived growing up. Every year we'd have our Christmas lights smashed by a bunch of kids. And then one time they TP'd our house, and another time they spray painted racial slurs on this street outside of our house. And I remember getting angry. And I wasn't so angry that I was a victim of discrimination, but I was more angry that they were so ignorant that they didn't even get the racial slurs right. And to me that really kind of underscored not so much what I consider to be hatred, but a real ignorance or lack of understanding.
I feel like the the way I like the style of my living is just kind of like mixed. I don't think there's one or the other because I'm half, so it's like, and plus I live in America. I think it'd be a lot different if I was half like living in China or somewhere like that. But like I feel like I do things that's like both, like Chinglish.
My dad was born in Japan, and then he moved here, and so he's brought that culture with him. But then also my mom was born in New York, so I also have like a whole American cultural aspect.
No, I'd say the hardest thing about being Asian is that I don't know what bubble to bubble in when they ask for your ethnicity on like the SAT or like STAR tests. Because I always want to put like half the bubble, but then they say you can't fill out the bubble, and I get like I start freaking out, and the test hasn't even started.
Oh my god.
As an Asian, I have to deal with stereotypes all the time. There are 3 main stereotypes that I have to deal with. People think I'm cheap, people think I'm a nerd who stays at home and plays Pokemon, and people think I have no social life. Who's this slanty-eyed kid? Oh my god, I hate him. But guess what? Asians don't have slanty eyes. See? Not slanty, big eyes. Okay, maybe I don't have big eyes, but let me tell you, I am not cheap, nerdy, and I do have a social life.
Sometimes I feel pressure to be like super smart and super quick at like math and everything. And math is not my strong point.
There's also this huge stereotype that Asian people are shy and timid, and because of that stereotype, it's very unlikely that a very intelligent Asian individual would get hired for a leadership position.
There's a mom, and the book was called like Tiger Mom, and her kids were not allowed to have sleepovers. They were not really allowed to hang out with friends after school. They had to come home straight and like practice piano for 4 hours, and then they'd do their homework, and they couldn't do sports or extracurricular art activities and stuff. And so, like they really push school, and if you get an A-, they're gonna get you like 10 worksheets, and you just do them and do them until you can get another, so you don't Asian fail.
Well, my mom is from New York, and so she's like Caucasian, but she is very like, she puts a lot of pressure on me for school. And then my dad, who's from Japan, he actually doesn't as much.
People always downplay the importance of being a social person, interacting with other people, learning to be more creative. Those are all very important aspects that are difficult to learn when you're solely focused on academics, when you're focused on the math, science, and history, and that's it. So Asians also compose 46% of the entering class at UC Berkeley. Asian undergrads at Ivy League schools account for 17%.
All right. So as you see there, Asians are less than 5% of the general population. Now, the Ivy Leagues do affirmative action. And what does that do? That totally hurts Asian Americans.
Yeah, you can see like the hesitancy. People are like, I don't mean to they'll say like, no offense, or like, pardon me for asking, but like, what is your background? And then they're like, oh, like no big deal, I'm Chinese.
Well, since I'm adopted, there's this, I guess my parents are older, and people always used to ask me if that was my grandma picking me up, and it kind of made me feel like, no, my mom can be old, and they were always like, is your mom an albino Asian? I'm like, no, she's my mom. Or they always ask me, who's your real mom? My mom. It turns out we went to the province I was from, and we also got this surprise visit to go to my orphanage, which that was really scary because I thought they were going to take me back and stuff like that, and I thought that they would find like a kid there that they like better than me, so that kind of scared me.
I think Drake is really open in general.
But now that you're looking to college, I know that one of my things was I want diversity. I didn't want to go to another all-white school just because I want to learn more about other cultures, and we don't really have that.
It's nice to have like an eclectic mix because it's important. You can't just like have one thing and stuff.
Like, I don't want to be all Asians like the UCs.
We are all ninjas. That's true.
Keep that on the desk.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.